Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Soul Seeds, where my guest expert for today is Barbara. And Barbara is a transformational life coach and also a forgiveness specialist. And our topic for today is the 5 keys to inner well-being. So thank you so much for being here. And I would love to know, what are these 5 keys to inner well-being?
Yeah. Well, they came because I was so interested in our inner well-being. So
Mhm,
there's a lot of conversation about mental health, and I kind of want to make sure that we're talking about mental and emotional well-being,
mhm,
and which is also spiritual well-being. But you don't have to be spiritual for those things to matter. If you are spiritual, it's almost like another dimension.
mhm,
But I've been always, since probably I was about, I don't know, 15, interested in mental and emotional well-being, and what makes being human possible
mhm,
when we live in such challenging, especially now, even more so in challenging times, and
mhm,
the kinds of things that we're not taught about how to be a human being. And so I've
mhm,
kind of collected all these different tools. So these five, what I would call essential practices for lifelong mental and emotional well-being,
mhm,
are my distillation of decades of interest in that
mhm,
field, and lots of reading, lots of self-help books and all that sort of thing. And the first one is meditation. And
mhm,
probably none of these will be a surprise to you, because this is the field that
mhm,
you're in as well, and probably your listeners too. But the most important thing really is that meditation can open up space inside of you. It
mhm,
helps you to develop that ability to sit with whatever is arising. And
mhm.
lots of people make the mistake of thinking you have to have a quiet mind to
Right.
meditate, and
Mhm.
you don't. You
No.
have to be able to sit with an unquiet mind
Yeah,
and not
yeah,
move.
great. I
That's
don't think
the
a quiet mind can ever be achieved, really.
exactly, it can't.
Mhm,
Which is why that's the biggest mistake that most people make
mhm.
with meditation, is expecting to have a quiet mind. There
Yeah,
may be
or even to
moments.
sit still all the time, because you can as well like have like a walking meditative practice, right?
Yes, you can. Yes.
Mm,
And I think they're different. I think
mhm,
there's something really wonderful about having an intention to not move, even just for five
mhm.
minutes.
Right.
That can, to resist the temptation to, scratch your nose or to shift about,
To do your
even
hair.
that. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And meditation, I mean, there have been so many studies done about what it does to us
Mhm,
on so many different levels, but even physiologically, it actually develops the gray matter in the brain,
mhm,
which is the part of us which helps to make, help us decide what we're doing and have that executive function, and to make intelligent decisions in our lives, and to go more, rather than just immediate, we go more into the long term.
mhm,
And also meditation can give you the ability and the capacity to hold strong emotions as well. So
mhm.
if you're just sitting with whatever arises,
Right.
again, that could be a really important practice, and it's really
Mm,
wonderful for stress. But
mm,
actually, the most important and the original reason for meditating was to recognize our true nature. And
mm,
meditation also offers us that. It offers us a glimpse into the ability that we have to be aware,
mhm.
pure awareness, because
Right.
you can be aware of your body and the discomfort, you can be aware of your feelings and emotions, you can be aware of your thoughts, you can be aware of the input from your senses, the sounds around you, all of the different inputs. And then there's this ability to be aware, which is
Mm,
just extraordinary. And that's, on the spiritual path, that's about true awakening, and your
mhm,
true nature. So it's almost like wherever you dip into meditation, it's an amazing practice.
mhm. Yeah, it's a calming one for me, but also a connecting one as well. And you can use it for grounding and connecting, and there are many ways that you can open yourself up to that. Yeah, that
Exactly.
connection. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it also just gives you a bit more perspective. So if you can watch thoughts arising,
Mm-hmm.
you're not so, a bit like being like at the mercy of things that are happening, like, watching a tennis game, like you're
Mm.
able to just take a bit more of a view, and
Right.
meditation helps you to develop those capacities. So that's the first one. So
Mm-hmm.
meditate. The second one is manage your mind. And we all have this monkey mind that's kind of,
Mm-hmm.
giving us all of this really usually unhelpful information, and it won't shut up. And what's
Yeah.
amazing is, we think we can control our minds. We can't. Our
Mm-hmm.
minds come up with ideas and things and comments and, oh, that person doing that, and oh, I should be doing that, and all these, like, all the relentless information from the mind.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't control it, but you can manage it, as in you can become aware of it. You can
Mm-hmm.
become aware of the meaning that you're making, and that's the most important thing, because we think that when things happen, that our interpretation is the correct one,
Mm.
as
Right.
opposed to there may be other perspectives, and
Mm-hmm.
there's this wonderful story about these twins, and they're at school, and they go in to see the teacher just before the break, and one of them saying, are you looking forward to the Christmas ahead? And
Mm-hmm.
one of the twins says, oh no, I'm really dreading it, because my family are getting divorced, and so it's going to be the
Mm.
first Christmas when we're not all going to be together, but we'll
Right.
have two Christmases. And then her twin comes in and says, oh, I'm really looking forward to Christmas. Finally,
Mm.
my parents have got divorced. It's going to be amazing. Two Christmases. It's going to, it's like it finally, the family have sorted themselves out. So the same event, but two
Right.
completely different perspectives. And that's to do with the meaning that we make in our minds.
Mm.
So
Right.
just knowing that what your mind is telling you might not be true is
Mm-hmm.
really helpful. And I know it sounds a bit obvious, but so much we believe what our mind tells us
Mm-hmm.
without questioning it. And you
Right.
may know the work of Byron Katie, who
Mm-hmm.
does
Yeah.
something called the work, where you're questioning, is this thing that I'm telling myself, is it true?
All right. And is
And
it really true?
yeah, exactly. And then
Yeah.
how do I know that it's true? And
Right.
and then you see my favorite self, from Kay Bradford Brown, the same teacher, is it true? Is it false? Is it something that I don't know? Because the
Mm-hmm.
don't know is so amazing. There's so much we don't know. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what you're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking down, and although you've said I might be looking at my notes, I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking you're bored. I don't know. I don't know it. The cat may have just like landed on your lap. It's so, but we have this thing where we're constantly making up our minds about
Mm-hmm.
stuff without questioning it, and having the
Right.
ability to question it. And even, again, what I'm interested in are everyday practices. So you
Mm-hmm.
can do a little meditation practice, and with the manage your mind, you can catch yourself. If you're feeling really upset about something, ask yourself, what am I making it mean? A
Mm-hmm.
friend hasn't texted you back.
Right.
Are you making it, well, she doesn't care about me,
Right.
I'm low on her list, I don't matter, all of the kind of
Yeah.
unkind things. And often you'll end up writing your old core beliefs, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm nothing, or I don't matter, or I'm, no one
Yeah.
loves me. And then you can do something about that. So it's so powerful to engage with that kind of mental activity, like in
Mm-hmm.
CBT. It's like that same kind of
Mm-hmm.
practice. So
Awesome.
manage your
I
mind,
would love
number
to know
two.
what the yeah, the third one.
Yeah. The third one,
Yeah.
um, feel. So to let yourself feel your emotions fully, and this can
Mm.
be again really hard. And some cultures, particularly like Brits, are not that great at feeling their feelings. There's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of stiff upper lip going on, and repression, all that sort of thing. But again, and this is why they're sort of in the order they are, because to feel, you need a capacity. So that's,
Mm-hmm.
meditation helps to bring that up. And
Right.
then you can look at the relationship between your thinking and your feeling. If I look at my phone and my friend hasn't phoned me, I might feel upset,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm feeling upset because I'm making it mean that she doesn't care about me.
Right.
So it's really helpful to know that one thing might be in, creating the other.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, sometimes we do have feelings that are just very pure and not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
connected to a meaning that we're making, but sometimes they are. And
Mm-hmm.
so again, the ability to feel, if you imagine the guide on your printer, you can't open up one end and not the other.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they both work together. And
Yeah.
so to feel more present to life, more engaged, more, those sublime feelings that we
Mm-hmm.
hardly ever let ourselves have. We also need to be willing to experience maybe the darker feelings,
Mm-hmm.
like anger or jealousy or rage, or admit that we hold resentment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
And don't
one of my
judge
biggest,
ourselves for having those kind of feelings.
exactly, because
Right.
it's almost like a whole rainbow, a whole,
Mm-hmm.
palette of all of these different feelings.
Yeah.
And becoming familiar with them can make life richer.
Mm-hmm.
And because of our physiology and our evolutionary biology, we tend to focus on the negative things,
Mm-hmm.
because it's more important that if there's a stick in the middle of the wood, we want to
Mm-hmm.
think, ooh, that could be a snake. and not
Oh,
step on it,
right.
rather than think, oh, it's probably just a stick, and go
Yeah.
on. So we're always kind of like we have a negativity bias.
Hmm.
And so we have to make more of an effort to sit with a beautiful sunset, or a
Hmm.
lovely moment with a friend, or a beautiful meal, or flowers, or just to really enjoy and to feel those things.
Hmm.
And I was reflecting on this today before our conversation, that I haven't felt, when I was younger, I didn't feel a lot. I shut down
Hmm.
quite a lot of those feelings. And it's only as I've got older that I actually feel as
Hmm.
if I'm experiencing those things in my body more. So I
Right.
think it is a capacity. So it's something to develop and
Hmm.
something to be curious about and not afraid of.
Yeah.
We're hopeless with things like grief. We don't know
Hmm.
how to deal with it. We don't know how to be with people who are grieving. We don't really allow it in ourselves very well. And so the invitation really, like, and again, a daily practice to just check in. What am I feeling?
Hmm.
Right, because we will stuff it down with chocolate or biscuits, or we'll go and put on Netflix or go on our phones, rather
Right.
anything rather than just feel.
Yeah.
And it can be a liberation just to engage with the
Hmm.
feeling realm. So
Yeah.
that's the third one. The fourth one won't come as too much as a surprise, because this is my favorite subject: forgive.
Hmm.
Again, as a daily practice. And what I encourage people to do is write a list of people that they need to forgive. So this can be
Hmm.
historical, it can be current, and
Hmm.
then just do your work, like you said in the previous conversation that we'd had, that you did a little ritual. So you
Hmm.
took time to do some forgiveness work on somebody. and
Yeah.
and I feel that, particularly with forgiveness, it's a brilliant way of clearing up the past, things that we
Hmm.
think, oh, I just don't think about that person anymore, I'm over it, they're
Yeah.
not in my life,
Just
rather
emptying that
than
inner
feeling.
clutter, basically.
It really is. It really is. And it's like, you would never leave your bins just to fester under the
Hmm.
sink. You do take them out
Yeah.
periodically. Or you go to the dentist or the hygienist. You have,
Right.
there's a cleansing thing going on, but we never do it in our hearts.
You're right.
And so forgiveness is, it's like, for me, the master practices. it's
Hmm.
it's a supreme way of clearing the past and healing ourselves.
Hmm.
And then the fifth one is gratitude, is be
Hmm.
grateful.
Yeah.
And again, this is something really easy to overlook,
Hmm.
that we take so much for granted.
Right.
And sometimes you can get an experience where, if you have a loved one who's unwell, or there's something that happens to you that limits,
Hmm.
like you break your wrist or something, and you're
Right.
just thinking, oh my goodness, how much I take for granted all
Yeah.
of the things that I normally do every day, and I can't do those things, or this person
Yeah.
can't do
It's
those
only when
things.
we
And
are faced with the lack of it where they're like, oh gosh, I had this all the time.
exactly,
Right.
exactly. And it's such a beautiful practice. And the studies, the scientific studies, show that just doing some gratitude every day can change your depression levels.
Mm.
It can really boost your mood, because if you tell yourself at the end of the day, I'm going to write down three things, or every morning I'm going to write down three things I'm grateful for, and
Hmm.
one of them can't be the same thing as I've done every day.
Hmm.
So you're looking for a new thing. It helps you to be engaged in your day in a way where you're looking for things that you can be appreciative of. It's a
Mm.
lovely practice. And then also, I think, with gratitude, is also to appreciate and maybe share. It's really nice to
Hmm.
just text somebody, or phone them, and leave a message. In fact, I heard this the other day, which I thought was really interesting, was when, if you text somebody, they don't get a release of oxytocin. If they hear
Hmm.
your voice, they
Hmm.
do.
Mm.
So
Okay. Oh, that's a good one
yeah,
to know. Send a voice
yeah,
memo instead.
exactly, exactly, yeah.
And I think also gratitude to yourself. Like, I always love to end my day or start my day with saying something that I'm grateful for myself. And I ask myself how am I going to honor myself, or how have I honored myself? So I think that's
Beautiful.
also a nice one to just add a little a little extra
Yeah,
gratitude there.
yeah. Yeah, well, maybe one of the three can be about yourself. Something
Mm,
that you appreciate about yourself. Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, we do overlook ourselves as well,
Hmm.
hugely. To take
Yeah,
ourselves for granted. So yeah,
as well. Yeah.
beautiful.
Let's stop doing that right now. But thank you so much, Barbara. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.